Yo, I'm SD, and in 5 minutes or less, you will be a master at using a sewing machine to tailor your own clothes. And the basic design has not changed in about 100 years, so you could go to the thrift store right now, pick up a solid one for like 30 bucks. Imagine shopping the clearance rack at Target and wearing clothes that look like they were just straight molded to fit your body. And imagine getting compliments from everybody. In fact, more compliments than your friends do who wear clothes that they paid twice as much for. Imagine being able to wear a t-shirt that perfectly accentuates your shoulders and your back and your chest and follows your V-taper perfectly all the way down to your waist. And make sure you stick around to the end of the video, because I'm gonna tell you where you can find a solid machine and where you can find some killer deals on your clothes. But I got less than 5 minutes, so let's get into this. Let's start at the front. You got these 3 main dials right here, which all have a lot of different settings to them, and that's because this sewing machine can do a lot of different things. So if you want to get into quilting, for example, yeah, you could do that on this machine. But if you want to just make your clothes fit better, then we're really not going to mess with too many of these settings at all. This first one is the type of stitch that you're going to use. I almost always have it set on A. That is just a straight line stitch. That's all that is. Sometimes I will set it to C, and what that does is it makes a zigzag stitch. The only time you're ever going to want to use a zigzag stitch is if you do a straight stitch along the side of a shirt, for example, and then you cut the side of it off, and what's going to happen is it's going to get all frayed if you don't take care of that in the washing machine. So what you do is you do a zigzag stitch along the side to kind of keep it all in place. This is the length of your stitch. The only time I ever really change this is, again, almost never. The length of my stitch is always the same, especially if I'm doing a t-shirt. I've got it set to between 2 and 3 right now, which is kind of a mistake. So what I will do is I will set it to 1 and I will keep it at 1. And to go into a little bit more detail, what the length of the stitch is going to do is it's going to dictate how much space is in between each individual stitch. Now again, for a t-shirt, you can keep it at 1 or 2. That's kind of fine. This right here, this is the width of your stitch. The only time you really mess with the width of your stitch is if you're doing a zigzag stitch. Otherwise, if you're sewing in a straight line, it's only going to be one width anyway. This down here, this reverses the direction of the sewing machine. So if you hit the pedal and you're going in one direction, what you do is you push that down and it'll reverse it and go in the other direction. The only time I ever use that is if I want to lock my stitch in. So I will go forward for about 2 seconds, push that down, go back for about 2 seconds, and then I will go forward for about 2 seconds. Boom, stitch locked in, just like that. This dial over here, this dictates the tension of your stitch. You've got options from 0 to 9. And the only time you're ever gonna mess with the tension of your stitch is if you're sewing, let's say, silk, for example. You don't want the tension to be really tight because then the stitch is gonna get all bunched up. So you want it to have a looser tension. But if you're doing denim, something a little bit thicker, then you're gonna wanna have a tighter tension to actually keep the thread in place. These 3 things right here, this is where you keep your thread, this is where it gets threaded from. This is your bobbin winder, and this right here is your bobbin. This is what comprises of the bottom of your stitch. What you do is you put this bobbin right on there, you push it to the right, and then you hit the pedal, and what it does is it winds up all that thread on there for you. And then when you're done, flip it that way, you take it off. I'll show you where to put that one in a second, and then you never touch that ever again. When it comes time to thread this machine, it actually shows you exactly where you're supposed to put the thread. It starts over here, and what I did is these are my daughter's stickers. You see that? See all those red smiley faces there? First off, don't tell her that I took them. Second off, what I did is I put them on the machine, because you go this way, this is number 1, you thread it right on through there. This is number 2, you loop it up right through there. This is number 3, you come up here, loop it right through that hole right there, and then you come on down through number 4 and you just thread it right through there. That's it. Every sewing machine is generally kind of the same, so all these settings are going to be the same, and the way that you thread it is pretty much going to be the same. Now all this stuff down here, all this stuff is really kind of scary to people too, but it's not, because like I told you before, you just put your thread right through there. This is going to comprise of what is your top stitch, and this down here, this comes up. This is where you are going to put your bobbin. Your bobbin drops right in there. You drop that bad boy on in there. That's your bottom stitch down there. What this does is it combines your top and your bottom stitch. That's it. What's really cool too is on a sewing machine, you're not pushing the garment through. It's actually being self-propelled. It's being thread through there all by itself. So all your hands are doing are just guiding which direction it is that you want to go. So if you want it to go to the right a little bit, all you do is turn your hands just a little. And then same thing if you want to go to the left. You know exactly what I'm about to say. You turn your hands to the left and then it's going to go that way a little bit. So if you want to sew it more of an angle as opposed to a straight line, you kind of go like that. You turn your hands to the left, you go at an angle, and then you can come back in just like that. This is the back of your sewing machine. What this knob right here does is this manually turns your needle. So if you make a mistake, you can manually turn it to kind of back it up. And this down here, this is for your power, and this is where the cord goes for your pedal. The really cool thing about your pedal is it's just like your gas pedal in your car. There's no on or off. You don't hit it and then it goes at one speed and then let off a little bit and it goes at another speed. Again, it's just like your gas pedal. If you want to start by going really, really slow, you just kind of press it just a little bit and it'll go slow. That's what I did for a really long time in the beginning. You can just take your time, just go really slow, and the garment is going to get fed through there really slow. But then as you get good at it, after you do this 100 times, you're going to mash that bad boy on into the ground and you are just going to go flying and you're going to have yourself a tailored shirt in like 3 minutes. I got a saying, mass-produced clothes are made to fit everyone, and because of that, they don't fit anyone. If you're buying your clothes off the rack and you automatically think they're going to look good on you because you paid a lot of money for them, I got some bad news for you. You gotta get them tailored or you gotta get them custom made. Now, custom made clothes, that is absolutely not an option for me. I'm not going to get my clothes custom made. Now, getting them tailored, yeah, obviously you need to get your clothes tailored. But you know what gets really old? Getting a really, really good deal on a shirt, but then knowing that you gotta go spend 15 bucks to actually make it look good on you. I got tired of that, so I just learned how to tailor and use a sewing machine myself. And now you know how to as well. There is a link in the description for a solid sewing machine that you can find on Amazon right now. And what's funny about that sewing machine is it's even easier than the one that I just showed you. The one that I just showed you has all manual dials on it. But yo, that one in the description down there, it's all digital, so it's even easier to pick up and use. The only reason why I haven't upgraded my sewing machine myself is because the one that I use, I know perfectly. But like I said earlier, you don't even need to do that. You can go to a thrift store and you can get one for like 30 bucks. And you don't even have to do that. Call your grandma. She's probably got a sewing machine. I'm sure she wants to talk to you anyway. Now go be like me. Go rummage through that Target clearance rack and go find a shirt for like 7 bucks and make it look better than like a $40 shirt. And my daughter, she says, thank you for subscribing and clicking that bell notification because YouTube ain't telling you when I upload anymore. SD out. Deuces.